everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to the Wasteland Watchlist here on the SPM Crew Podcasting Network. And this is my weekly show where my guests and I play a little bit of movie roulette and randomly select what could be basically any kind of movie from my insanely large movie watch list. And this certainly was a different one, but we'll be getting to that. But joining me is Chris Roberts. Thank you so much for coming on.
I'm glad to be here.
And before we jump in, we love shameless plugs. So if you'd like to shamelessly plug where people can find you or check out your content or anything, go right ahead.
Sure, you can pretty much find me in two places. One, I run a show called moviesmash.com. We actually review movies just like yourself, but ours are really limited to movies that are based on comics or graphic novels outside the MCU. So we like to find some really interesting ones, not all superheroes. Sometimes it's horror, sometimes it's slice of life. And just we actually have guests on who are writers, screen directors, or even other podcasters to help us pick a movie. And like yourself, it's a random list. Now, the funny thing is, we never know what we're going to get. It could be the 1966 Batman, or it could be, I'm trying to think of a great slice of life movie we had recently. But nonetheless, we can have any sort of randomized, any random movie we can have. The other place you can find me is Off Panel Creations. I build nerdy comic book furniture, and I'm always building something interesting over there. So
awesome. And we're talking about something that has absolutely nothing to do with comics. Actually, it has nothing to do with a whole lot of things, but we're going to be talking about Grand Canyon. And this is from director James Algar, and this was released December 17th, 1958. Nice, just in time for the Christmas season. This 29-minute film is from Walt Disney Productions. This was actually released with Sleeping Beauty's initial run, so this was paired with it before the film. So I guess they're like the most random shorts they can find to put in front of their animated films. But this did win Oscar for live action short film, which is interesting. And this is set to Faird Golf's Grand Canyon Suite. I am not German, so hopefully I did that okay. And this features no dialogue or narration, which I did not realize until I started watching. So there you go. But this apparently was released on the Sleeping Beauty DVDs as well when they released them. I would actually have to double check mine to see if it actually has this on there. I could have owned this movie the whole entire time. But Chris, what were your general thoughts on this very musical experience?
So to start things off, it was not what I was expecting, to say the least.
Yep.
When you told me we were going to watch a documentary about the Grand Canyon, I used to live near the Grand Canyon. I've been to the Grand Canyon. I ran a half marathon of the Grand Canyon. I've hiked the Grand Canyon. I was looking forward to a documentary about the Grand Canyon. That is not what this is. This is about the loosest definition of documentary I have ever heard. It's essentially a 29-minute long music video, but using classical music. The way I like to look at it after sitting back and digesting it, it's like Fantasia, just live action.
Yes. Well, and I think the big thing is it's because it's from that composer that did a lot of the Fantasia music. And this was one of Walt Disney's more bold decisions with these like Disney nature documentaries. Because I've watched a couple other ones from just using my watch list to just pick things to watch. And those ones were much more like you had the narration and then they had some fun music when it's like these two animals are going to be like uh, throwing fists at each other and just having some fun along the way, like the silly kind of like nature documentaries. This certainly is much more of it's trying to express the beauty of this music and pairing it with just the beauty of the Grand Canyon. And they got some really beautiful and really engrossing shots of one of nature's biggest, wonders to potentially take in. And I'm not much of an adventurer. I jokingly say I'm a hobbit. I don't leave my hobbit hole very often. But through film, you could go to all kinds of places. And this honestly made me be like, wow, I want to see this for real, actually. So maybe one day. I've been to Arizona once for work, and I did not go to the Grand Canyon, but I did go to a Diamondbacks home opener game. So that made me very happy.
It's the same thing.
It's absolutely the same thing. No difference. So,
One that I gotta say, this thing you said was made in the 50s, right? If I have
yes.
the date properly, and the views of them, of the Grand Canyon itself, the aerial views,
Yeah.
that can be done with a drone these days, but they didn't have drones at that time, so it's actually pretty breathtaking on how they
Mhm.
pulled that off. So yeah, this is the time period where Walt Disney was experimenting with different ideas. He was really trying to sort of push the envelope on filmmaking beyond just cartoons that we're used to
Yeah.
this day. And I think, yeah, they put in the beginning of the Sleeping Beauty movie to sort of pad the runtime, I think, for those people.
Well, because that was probably like, what's it, an hour 10, hour 15 minutes, Sleeping Beauty. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and but at the end of the day, it is, I think for its time, it was a good piece. I tried doing a deep dive on this because anytime
yeah.
I watch movies, I like sort of exploring sort of what were they thinking, where were they coming from,
Mhm.
and there's not much out there about this other than the fact that he was experimenting. It won an Oscar, and that's really about all there is to say about it.
Well, and what's interesting too is that, like, it feels so Disney too, between the music and then them literally using the storybook that they would use in all their animated films as like little introducing like this part or this specific piece of music. And that was like a fun little creative thing because honestly, I kind of miss that at the start of like Disney movies is like the whole entire like you have this like really old looking ornate book and it just opens and it's just like that's the storybook. I feel like Shrek ruined that though.
Yeah, it
Which
ruined a
like
lot of things.
but we love Shrek for
Oh,
it.
we do.
But, like I feel like it's the same way like Austin Powers ruined James Bond, Pierce
Mhm.
Brosnan era because like nobody's gonna take this seriously, and then they had to make Casino Royale because parody got too real to be honest. But this just has that classic kind of feel to it. And this music is fantastic. Like there's a lot of emotion to it. And to your point, they had to do like probably like lugging helicopters out there trying to do their best to capture these shots. And yeah, it's so interesting where technology has evolved where what you could do today with this, but it just looks so crisp and beautiful with every shot that they have here and just like capturing the life that's the Grand Canyon. And this obviously isn't going to be for everybody. I don't think everybody's going to want to sit there for 29 minutes listen to classical music and just see shots of the Grand Canyon, but if you're open to just getting engrossed in this music and just how beautiful the cinematography of all of this is, it's really like special kind of experience.
It is. It's kind of like a magical thing. I mean, you sort of touched on it. They
Mhm.
don't make things like this anymore. And I want to tie it back to a shot. There's a shot. I think there's only really 4 songs in the entire piece. I think so.
I
I
think
believe that's what it
so. Yep.
was. And there's a shot where they're on the Rio Grande. They're obviously it's bouncing around. The water's very dirty. And
Hmm.
all I could think about the whole time was like, this was not a GoPro. This is a
Oh.
bunch of equipment that if I was a producer of this, I'd probably be having a panic attack of like, I'm about to lose thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment to this water because
Hmm.
they were all over the place. They were in the rapids.
Yeah.
So I applaud them for the risk they took for making this. But you're right. I don't think the average person is going to sit down and say, you know what, I really want to see this Disney film. It's one of those things that sort of you bring up in past conversation. Oh, there's this thing before Cinderella or Sleeping Beauty.
Mm.
Sorry, you should go. No, it's interesting, quote unquote, interesting, but it isn't anything. It's not riveting. You could fall asleep to it, not in a bad way. Like it could just lull you to sleep.
Well, and I, I'm just imagining that there probably were some people who got dragged to Sleeping Beauty with their kids that probably did fall asleep listening, watching this. And God, that just brought up a memory for me because I remember seeing Coco and they had that 25-minute Olaf short. And I had a long day at work. I fell asleep the whole entire Olaf short and woke up just in time for Coco. And I'm like, oh, well, that was perfect
That
timing.
was refreshing.
had a little power nap beforehand. Everybody else went to go see Coco and had to sit through 25 minutes of a Frozen short, which that's wild. That long of a short today.
Oh yeah.
Especially like if you think about all the trailers and everything that played before the movies too. But I imagine this was an interesting pairing with an hour and 15-minute film. You're done this half-hour documentary and that whole movie in less than 2 hours.
Oh yeah, and
So
if you're late to the movie, you didn't miss it because
exactly.
it's just playing the front. I don't even know if they had. I guess they did have trailers back then, but it's
I
it
highly doubt that they had 30 minutes of them like they do today.
yeah, when it's just advertising for your local automobile dealership.
Yeah. Oh, that is certainly the strangest thing where I've been to a smaller theater and they had like local ads. I'm like, that is not what I'm used to. Where's the
Yeah.
Chevy ads? Oh, like having to listen to that over again. But in general, I think this is a beautiful little film that if this is something that piques your interest, I think it's worth checking out. It's free on YouTube, or go check out your Sleeping Beauty DVD that you have when it came out of the vault and see if it's on there. So
It's true.
you have that to look forward to
I,
too.
I was actually just having a conversation the other day about the Volt. I was trying to explain it to my daughter, who's 17, about the Volt concepts and what that really means. And in this world of streaming, how any extra thing you get on that DVD was worth it coming out of that Volt.
Well, and that's the thing. I took the time to go through all of my specifically Disney and Criterion movies to see if they had shorts and stuff on them so that I could like document them as like I have a spreadsheet. And like this is one of those ones where it's like this is so unexpected to get this on like a Sleeping Beauty DVD. But yes, indeed, Disney Plus has destroyed the vault. And because it's all out there.
Yeah.
They don't know the struggle of being like you would pop in one of your VHS tapes and it's like and coming soon out of the vault and like the door opens up and it's just like oh my
Yep.
god I'm gonna go buy this VHS for full price again because it's a brand new
It's
release.
the collector's edition.
Yeah, that's exactly well, and it was a genius decision
Mm-hmm.
whoever did that because boy did they control supply and demand with that for
Well,
sure.
and what was even more good about it was the fact that they're really targeting children with those movies back in the day.
Yes,
So by the time it entered the vault and left the vault again, that next generation was looking for that movie. And like, I got to
exactly.
get it now because if I don't, my kid won't be able to see it
Hmm.
because in 7 years, it'll be gone for 7 years.
Uh, like as a kid, it was so frustrating, but like as an adult, and also like I have a master's in accounting and a
Mm-hmm.
background in business. I'm just like, it was genius. Those people at Disney really, because like I don't know if that was a Walt decision or that was a post Walt decision, but all I have to say is genius. They
Oh,
really, they really knew what they were doing.
I have 22 years in the sales industry. Yeah, it's a beautiful decision.
There you go.
It's all about creating scarcity.
Exactly. But Chris, do you have any other thoughts on Grand Canyon?
No, like I said, it's not bad, but I wouldn't
Mhm.
say it's great. I wouldn't say like one of the things we talk about on our show is really should our listeners go out and find this movie? Should they spend the time to go do it? And I'd say if you're curious, go take a look. If you have a curiosity of things of lost media, essentially. But if you're saying I'm going to go for a riveting time to learn about the Grand Canyon, this is not that movie.
You'll learn nothing
You will learn
except for what it looks like.
exactly,
So
and actually, given how long ago that was made, it doesn't even look like that anymore.
yeah, it's just like you get there. I'm like, now I'm just thinking of Dumb and Dumber. It's like I would have expected the Grand Canyon to look a little bit more grand and canyon.
Yeah,
Just like now, this is very different from God, what 67 years ago,
yeah.
something
Those
like
those
that.
river waters were a little high in that movie. Not quite that high
Yeah,
anymore.
there you go. But those are our thoughts
Mhm.
on Grand Canyon, this Walt Disney nature documentary. But make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. But Chris, I would like to thank you for coming on and joining us here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.
That was a pleasure.
And make sure to like, comment, and share on this episode. Do you have any of your favorite? Like, did you watch any of those old Disney nature documentaries, or even some of the modern ones? Or what are some of your favorite Disney shorts before some of their films? Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. We're ever expanding here at the SPN Crew Podcasting Network. We have new shows, including Tolkien on Tap and some new music and film shows. So if you're tired of me just talking about movies on like 5 different podcasts here, there's more options coming your way. But you should still check them out anyway. But if you like our logo as well, make sure to check out High Flyer Creative for all of your digital marketing needs. But most importantly, thank you as always for tuning in and supporting the Wasteland Watchlist here on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network.